feel today? Ask yourself this question.
What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Let's go! We ready! We ready! We ready! We ready! And let's go to the house! And let's go to the house!
When I step on the field, I send one message. And this is what it feels like. This is what it feels like.
Football is getting hit. That's it.
It's gonna be football now. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Let's hunt now. Let's hunt now. Let's go. Let's hunt. We ready? And let's go to the house. And let's go to the house.
We're talking about the Jets like we're talking about the Saints. You know, all this, how like we the Miami Heat of football. Yeah. The bottom line is you got to buckle up your chin strap.
It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Don't disrespect the game like that. There's too much crying from them.
He's a man. They can be hit just like us. He's a man.
You already make the big money.
He's a man.
Don't cry when you step on the field, man. That's war out there.
When I step on the field, I send one message. And this is what it feels like.
Oh, my bad. Your bad don't work in my world.
What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. We ready? And let's go to the house. And let's go to the house. It's a wrap. Game over.
And now this game ain't over. It's just getting started right here on the lunch break, powered by JM&E and streaming live on Roku TV, courtesy of BS3 TV. And as you can see, I'm in an office building. I am at SGA TV. That's right. I am at the SGA TV network, broadcasting live here. Got a meeting right at 1 o'clock Central. So as soon as I get off of here, I'll be running into a meeting over there. And all I can tell you is get ready for the things to come. Donna Coleman-Holman, you know what time it is. It is game time here on the lunch break. It is Throwback Thursday. What's up, Captain Trey Pike? How you doing, brother? Good to see you as always. And y'all know on Throwback Thursday, I got to get my guy in. I got to get my brother. Hey, don't get me for my lighting, man. I'm in an office that I had to borrow because I'm at SGA TV and we working on some stuff today, man. How you feeling?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
I'm good, man. You seem subdued today. What's happening?
Oh, just reading some news about the UH men's basketball program. So,
what's the word, man? Give us that breaking news, bro. Give it to us.
Coach Sampson touched on it. He hinted at it yesterday during his media session that they were looking to add some front court depth. And this guy's not an impact person, not a starter, but somebody to give minutes if necessary in the front court. You know, be another body in practice.
Sure.
And they announced it 3 minutes ago. They signed Darius Bowser from Charleston Southern, 6'9" big man. 230. He's a graduate transfer. So he's a grad student, already graduated from Charleston Southern. So he'll be joining the Cougs to help them try to get to the Final Four. I'm saying that, not Kelvin Sampson. I'm saying that part.
Yeah. I know. But you know what? Somebody told you your statements have weight. Your questions have weight. So, you know.
I do all right. I've learned from the best.
Let me ask you, man. We got the news right before we came on air. Brittany Griner was convicted of her having cannabis, vape pen, basically having drugs in her bags. Any surprises? This was not a surprise. This is what we expected. And since I, came up to the building, tried to find where I am right now, has there been any other developments? Have they sentenced her yet?
9 years. I've seen the initial report was 9.5 years. The prosecutor was asking for, and then last I've heard it was 9 years to a sentence to a penal colony. And then it's just a question of what type of penal colony, hard labor or something less, but it's still a penal colony. And as Donna Holman's pointing out, it's 0.7 grams. 0.7 grams and got 9 years. And there's even some
Well,
question if it was actually 7.7 grams.
right.
But, you know,
Right.
corruption in Russian government and legal system. So no, I'm not surprised. I hope BG is not there very long, and our government and that government can reach some sort of agreement, negotiations, and bring her home as soon as possible.
Yeah, again, Kris Gardner, Houston Roundball Review, joining us on Throwback Thursday. Again, I'm not in studio; I'm in a borrowed office. But let me just say this: to me, there were no surprises. We knew she was going to get convicted. We knew that they were not going to be lenient on her, because if they're lenient on her, that lessens the value of her being used as a pawn by the Russian government to trade for assets that they want back, being held here in the United States. Originally, it was said to be the merchant of death, the arms dealer, but now we've recently heard that there is another convicted murderer of Russian descent that's here that they want thrown into this deal. So, you know, again, it's shocking to read it and see it, but none of it is a surprise.
Agreed. And let's look at it. This is political prisoners, the political pawns, the two people that government wants in return. What do you say? The merchant of death?
Yeah, that's
right?
what
right?
he's known
that's
around the world.
Right. The merchant of death and a convicted murderer.
Right.
In exchange for 0.7 grams of cannabis. And Paul Whelan. I mean, it don't even equate in terms of crime.
Hold on. Let me tell Keith, there's nothing I can do about it. I had to borrow an office. I'm at a meeting. I had to borrow an office so I could get on air. So I don't, man, I'm doing good to know where I'm at. So there's nothing I can do about it. I apologize. You know me, I'm always about the quality. Today was a day where I'm just beg borrowing and not stealing. So again, appreciate you always trying to make sure we look the best over here on the lunch break. So again, to your point, what has been asked for in exchange for, like you said, 0.7 grams of THG. Again, I don't know what the other former Marine exactly did. Of course, he was alleged to have been spying, but I don't know what they actually got him on and what have you. But long story short, there literally is no comparison.
Yes, he was convicted of murder. As far as we know, he's not over there because of murder. Yeah. He's not nicknamed the merchant of death.
THC, right? Thanks, Donna.
I mean, there is no comparison.
Right.
So we could go down the rabbit hole about certain people being friends with that government, but I won't do that.
Yeah, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole, but I do want to bring up the some of the comments from quote unquote Americans where they are celebrating this sentencing of Brittany Griner and literally trying to hold it to, oh, well, she broke the law in a foreign country. She should have known better. And oh, yeah, by the way, she hates America because she protested during the George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and what have you. Again, further indication that this country is divided and broken, most recently because of the actions and statements and behavior of the former president.
Well put, because she protested. We can protest in America.
It's in the First Amendment, by the way. It's very well stated with no question marks in the First Amendment, by the way.
Russian citizens, if they protest, some of them get killed for protesting.
Yeah.
Over there in that government. But, the false equivalency that some folks here in America choose to live by, I would no longer deal with. I no longer want them in my life. I don't have time for that negative energy. I have gotten rid of folks who I thought were friends over stuff like this, and I'm much better for it.
Yeah, I'm glad Donna brought this up. A guy who I call a brother, Todd Malcolm, said that if she did the crime, she should go to jail for life or close to it. And again, Todd is one of those dudes that he had the experience of being raised by a Black family. He grew up in predominantly Black neighborhoods and what have you. And he's cool people. But it's almost like just because you had those experiences don't mean you understand the struggle and you don't understand the disparities. There was a young white boy that was caught vandalizing cars over in, I forget, it was over in an Asian nation. And the penalty for his vandalism was so many lashes with a bamboo rod.
Mm-hmm.
And America, let me be specific, white America had an outcry. That's barbaric, and he's an American, and he shouldn't have to be, be whipped 40 lashes with a bamboo rod and all these things. Where was that energy with you did the crime? You vandalized those cars. Nobody vandalized those cars for you. Where was that energy then? It was his father that said, son, you just gonna have to suck this up. You're gonna have to take those licks like a man because you did this. And when you come home, we will love you and we will take care of you. Where was that energy when it was a white young man versus a gay and lesbian black woman? Oh, and I put it all in there because it's all in there.
Oh yeah, it's all in there. It's just a false equivalency. People choose. They're not consistent in their values and how they enforce their own values, and that's one of my biggest gripes and criticisms of those folks. You seem to want to hold folks accountable, except if they look like you, or if they don't look like you, or if they don't believe what you believe. I just don't understand that. 0.7 grams of cannabis, THC, here in the States. And we're not even sure if she did it intentionally. It could have just been an accident. She put it in there. That's part of the prosecution's claims, that she did it on purpose. Her doctor said it was for medicinal values. Oh, don't care. It's prescribed. Oh, don't care. 9 years.
Yeah.
For life.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, come on, people.
Right. Let me break from our conversation. I asked somebody to join us today. It's his birthday, so I wanted to get this cat on right here. Now this stuff is acting crazy. It's the coach, Johnny Cole. Coach Cole, we can't see you. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, there you are. Birthday Noop. Birthday Noop. How are you, man? We want to celebrate your birthday on the show today. Oh, he got that Boost mobile phone.
My brother. Good morning. Good morning.
Hey, borrow your brother's phone because your Boost mobile phone is cutting up.
Yeah, Coach. Long time no see. I haven't seen him since for a minute. But yeah.
We'll try and get him back on. It's his birthday. Again, I wanted to celebrate. Coach has been killing it, man. Coach just had Stedman Graham on his show for an exclusive interview. We were unable to air it on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter, Twitch, because the one thing that Mr. Graham asked us was to not put it on social media. If you haven't noticed, he has zero social media footprint, and he wants to keep it that way. So we were able to air it on BS3 and FireTV because, those are TV networks, but he did not want it aired on social media. So we gotta, Coach has been killing it, man. He's been killing it.
Yeah, well, I don't want to even disrespect my guests I'm working on because they're not Stedman Graham. So, but mine are in the basketball community. So I had Coach Lindsay Edmonds from Rice on, interviewed her yesterday, and have Coach Parra from Rice on tomorrow, scheduled with him. Trying to get Coach Jones, TSU, and Coach Ski from TSU. Got Lawrence Sampson hopefully coming up soon too from UH. But yeah, not Stedman Graham type. Man, I guess I need to try to get Oprah. I'm gonna try to get Oprah then. Yeah.
Look, that would be the next step. I mean, yeah. Okay, it looks like he's trying to come back in. Let me see what he's talking about. Let me see if we can get him out. Okay, yeah, you look better and you sound better, birthday man. How are you? And then he froze.
Yeah, then he froze. But the beard looks good though, Coach. Yeah, the beard looks good. Yeah.
We can't hear you, Coach, but let me sing for you. On my mother, on my hood, you look fly, you look good on your birthday. That's how we do it. That's how we do it. That's how we do it, Newt. Coach, we can't hear you, man. Go on and drop off. Enjoy your birthday. We'll get you back on another time, man. We'll get you back on another time.
Take care, Coach. I'm sure I'll see you at some point.
Yeah, you know, again, man, the only coach to win a SWAC championship at TSU, and they even hadn't even had a winning record since. I would love for Kevin Granger to be a real athletic director and say, listen, other schools have brought back previous coaches. This man needs to come back. I just wish he would do it.
Not gonna happen.
I know it's not gonna happen.
Not gonna happen. You know.
I know it's not gonna happen. But I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear about we trying to win and this coach gives us the best chance to win, because it ain't even close. It ain't even in the same ballpark.
See the comment from Trey Pike right there, brother?
Let me pull it up. Fort Scott, Kansas barred me and Coach Cole from celebrating birthdays in their town. Happy. I can only imagine what that was about. I can only imagine.
Yeah, I'm kind of scared. Think about that one. Yeah.
Yeah. But I got time today. I got time.
Right.
Today. I'm a little older than most. I go back multiple presidents. And I can honestly say that I have never seen a president cozy up to Russia, not just any country, but Russia, like I saw the 45th president of the United States did, to the point where he even put down his own intelligence community, like broke channels and protocol and what have you to meet with this man one-on-one. Even went and told the president of Russia what we were checking into. And people wonder why we calling you out for your disdain for a basketball player.
And I remember times seeing in the news, social media, that his supporters, his followers, his lemmings, who went so far as to cheer that government and jeer Democrats and the democratic process here in America. My man, I'm not quite as old as you, okay? But I go back to the early 80s. That's Cold War stuff, man. You know, and it's sports. It was sports. But when the U.S. hockey team beat Russia, man, that was a huge, huge deal.
The miracle on ice. Yes,
and
sir.
It was more than just sports.
Yep.
Because the Cold War was legit.
Right.
You would not have caught any American
right
cheering that government.
Right.
No way in hell.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. And to see how things have changed for the worse, that some folks here who are American citizens who will basically wave the flag of that government, that communist regime, that authoritarian regime, that blows me away. That is just another example of, as you said, this country's broken, it's divided, and a whole lot of folks, millions of folks, are in the sunken place.
Yeah, and it's true. It's true. When you want to define your patriotism by hating another political party more than a literal enemy of the state, a literal enemy of everything that your country believes in, everything that they claim is about the truth, everything that your troops and military has fought for to protect this democracy, and you would rather cheer that and hate this because it makes you look good in a political argument? No, bro, it's out of order.
Yeah, it is, and I just, there's not much to add to it, and yet they claim to be the ones who are true patriots.
Right. And it's weaponization of a word. It's weaponization of a statement. It is weaponization of. It's almost like I'm just going to be real today because I'm in a borrowed office.
Right? Yeah.
You barely see me.
Go
I'm just
ahead.
going to be real today. When I see, it's almost like when I see people flying a flag in front of their house now, I don't know if they're truly proud of their country or they've literally weaponized it and they're trying to agitate neighbors.
Yes.
One is great. The other one is not.
Agreed.
When I hear people make a big deal about the national anthem, I'm as proud of my country as anybody. Hear me when I say I had family members die for this country. But is it to salute the country or is it to weaponize it and make other people feel bad about the way the country has treated them?
Yes. And I'm paraphrasing James Baldwin, but I love America so much that I'm going to criticize and be critical of America when they fail to live up to their ideals.
Martin Luther King Jr. said, just be true to what you said on paper.
So that's
be
where I
true to
am.
what you said
And
on
I'm
paper.
consistent in that. I'm not, nope.
Yeah.
So if you don't agree with that, hey, go find folks who agree with you and I'll move on and I'll be happy with my life. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm very happy with my life now, man.
Yeah, likewise. So anyway, no surprises with Brittany Griner. No surprises. Now the real negotiations began because she has been sentenced to 9 years at a penal colony. Again, we extend our concern and our sympathy and empathy and prayers to Brittany Griner, to her spouse, to her family, and to the other young man that is being detained there, and we pray that they will be brought home.
Yes, and it's not because of it's personal, but I've known BG since she was in 10th grade.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have one colleague, friend of mine, who was with Brittany like every step of the way from her junior and senior year at Nimitz to Baylor to early years in her WNBA career.
Yep.
I've met BG's dad. Okay.
Yep,
so
same here.
I'm
Same
connected
here.
to the family.
Yep.
So, and her dad is what, brother?
Military.
AJ?
Yeah.
Military. Yes.
Right.
Military.
Yep.
So,
And law enforcement.
Again. Yes. So all those folks who say what y'all saying, okay, y'all must not know or don't care about her family, her dad. But okay, you keep spewing out that trash and I'll just keep looking the other way and ignoring you and dealing with the truth in reality.
Yeah, Ice Cube said in Boys of the Hood, either they don't know or they don't care. Yeah. All right, let's take a quick break, Kris. We'll come back. Donna Coleman-Holman asked a question. I want to get your thoughts on it as well. Kris Gardner, Houston Roundball Review, joining us here on the lunch break, powered by JM&E, streaming live on Roku TV, courtesy of BS3 TV. And guess what? We're broadcasting live from the SGA TV offices, not studio, offices. So we'll be right back right after this on the lunch break.
Discouragement, sorrow, distance. Your arguments cause damage to your family. The hurt leads to divorce. You feel like there is nowhere else to turn. But there is hope for you. That's where we come into play. There is an overcomer that lives inside of you. One ready to take on the world as you leap for joy, living in victory. You'll grow to love yourself and others. There's life after divorce, and you can claim it today. Get Over Divorce, where your new story begins here every Thursday on YouTube and Spreaker. This is a BS3 Network presentation.
I want to show that attainability. I want to show the accessibility of this kind of lifestyle.
From social media to having conversations with friends and family, you always have to put on face and say face.
What brings a smile to my face is the one person that totally believes in me, and that's my beautiful wife, Jody.
I just had to stop because I didn't value myself. I didn't love myself. And it's like, I have to learn to love myself.
Changing the world one conversation at a time. This is Revelations.
All right, we're back on the lunch break, powered by JM&E, streaming live on Roku TV, courtesy of BS3 TV. A couple of commercials from other shows on the network. And man, I love what these guys are doing, man. They're doing phenomenal jobs. And let me say, when I say guys, I'm from the Midwest, so that's guys and ladies. So I do a lot of respect for the BS3 network. All right, Kris Gardner, Houston Roundball Review, joining us on the show. Throwback Thursday, but Kris is such has a wide range when it comes to life and sports and just, a whole bunch of stuff. Donna Coleman-Holman asked the question, what do you think about Deshaun Watson getting 6 games for the situation there, and now the NFL deciding that they're going to appeal it and they're seeking for a minimum of 17 games?
I'm not surprised by either one. The judge decided on 6 games. She really cited previous NFL rulings and suspensions.
Right.
So now we're getting into the NFL and hypocrisy.
Right.
Because for all the stuff Deshaun Watson, it wasn't, at least court-wise, is not criminal behavior. A lot of us can be bothered by it and consider it immoral and all those things, but he hasn't been found in criminal court about that. So the 6 games, and if Brother Willie Gibson is watching, we talked about it on Sunday's show because he read the statement from the NFL Players Association, who hoped that in that statement that the NFL Commissioner Goodell would agree with the judge's ruling, because at that point, it was Sunday evening on our show. The judge's ruling would be Monday morning, like 8 o'clock Eastern time or 9 o'clock, whatever. So Will thought that statement was leaning more toward less than 6 games, if any, because he thought the PA wanted the NFL, the shield, to whatever the judge decides, to go along, to agree with it, accept it, abide by it, etc. Mm-hmm. Previously, Will was like, on previous shows, he thought it was going to be 6 games. He said that 2 months ago, that he thought 6 games. So he kind of, should have stuck to his guns, but rather what he did on Sunday's show. But commissioner coming out, appealing it, trying for a full season, suspension. They're trying to take the high ground, the moral ground. Look at us now. We're taking things serious now. We gotta do this, take this stuff serious in previous rulings, previous judgments against players and owners. But now, yes, we won a whole season for Deshaun Watson. It won't be a season. But then they can say, well, at least we tried. At least we appealed. So it might end up being 8 games, whatever. And they can say, well, we tried. We wanted 17, but we'll take 8. There we go.
You bring up a lot of good points. Kris Gardner, Houston Roundball Review, talking about Deshaun Watson getting the 6 games from the arbitrator set up by the NFL, by the way, using their process. And public outcry was so severe. Sponsorship talking about being pulled, all the above, and not wanting to negatively impact the woman fan base. And I got to say these things. I'm not saying them out of opinion. These are facts. I'm not saying that they shouldn't be concerned about these things. I told you I got time today, so I'm just going to say what it is. So Commissioner Goodell has made the decision that they are going to appeal the suspension of 6 games. Now, Adam Schefter is writing that while the NFL is going to appeal, Roger Goodell himself will not be the arbitrator of this level. He will determine who will hear the appeal. But the part that's not being said is that Roger Goodell is the one that gets to make the final decision on the appeal.
Correct. So it's still in his hands. It's still going to be Roger Goodell's decision in whatever happens. So the NFL has been so inconsistent and wishy-washy in their support of women, their female fans, for years. We could pick players. We could talk about how they, do the breast cancer awareness month and how they're so big on that, and yet they look the other way when it comes to abuse of women. So, they're inconsistent, and we'll see how it all plays out. I see Trey Trey Pike's comment
I
about.
was going to put that up. Yeah, I was going to put that up. The interesting thing about that, Trey, is that the players, when they agree to the collective bargaining agreement, when they ratify that literally in cases like this, it limits their rights to go above and beyond. I'll give you the case with Tom Brady and the underinflated footballs. I hate the Deflategate and Spygate and all that. It's dumb journalism. But Tom Brady could only go so far, and most of the judges ruled, well, the collective bargaining agreement said this. The collective bargaining agreement said that. Even when a lower court agreed with Tom, another court went back to the collective bargaining agreement. So it got to a point where his next step was going to be the U.S. Supreme Court. And his father, I think, was ill with cancer at the time. And he knew that he did not have, a whole lot of options because of the collective bargaining agreement. And he finally settled and sat out the punishment.
And it's in the bargaining agreement
that
the NFL could appeal, had 3 days to appeal the judge's ruling.
Right.
So the Players Association agreed to that.
Right.
That's one of the stipulations in the CBA.
Now get this, though. The NFL Players Association will go through the motions of trying to litigate this in federal court, but most of the judges are going to send it back to the CBA.
Yeah, exactly. So they can only do so much, but y'all agreed to it. Y'all ratified this as part of the CBA. So the NFL is really just doing what you agreed and allowed them to do.
And same thing with what Keith is saying. It's definitely it outside of the CBA, it's double jeopardy.
Yes.
Inside of the CBA, it's their standard operating procedure.
Correct.
Unfortunately. So I'm gonna be quite frank and direct and say I always thought it was going to be at least one season. I always thought it was going to be at least one season. I did, and it wasn't because I, was digging into the testimony and the evidence and all that. I just felt like this was one of those cases where the team and he agreed that he wouldn't play for the Texans last season, so that's not included in any punishment. That was an agreement between Deshaun's representation and the Texans representation. So I always felt like it was going to be at least one season where Deshaun would be off the field, go through whatever, process that they felt like he needed to go through for personal development. And then he would have a chance to play 2023, 2024. So I won't be surprised if they get a full season, but I will be surprised at the fact that the NFL itself is already questioning the process that it put in place the first time the process got tested.
Your logic is sound. The pessimist in me said 10 games. Because after those 10 games, his first game, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, would be against the Texans. Primetime TV, buku ratings, the NFL, blah, 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 blah. But you know what? We're big on TV ratings, so let's do 10 games.
Yeah.
And all the hype surrounding that, the build up to that game, the matchup, and 10 games. That's what I thought.
Yeah, I again, the Messi in me is like, do that. But the reality is, man, either they gonna get at least a year. I just, because again, Goodell has the final say, and I feel like he's going to fall on the court of public opinion. Public opinion is he's a predator. Public opinion is he should not be playing. Public opinion is, he should be away from the game, period. I believe he's going to find a middle road in the court of public opinion. We sat him down for a whole year.
I don't see it based on the precedent that they haven't done it before.
Oh, and I agree with that.
So I
agree with that.
I mean, what you say makes sense, but I don't really have a reason to believe he's going to do that because of the court of public opinion, because he hasn't done it before.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and Judge Susan L. Robinson said as much. Based on your precedents, based on your guidelines, 6 games.
Yeah. So unless they change the rules and start addressing things like what Deshaun has been accused of doing, I don't see him suspended. I don't see Goodell suspending Deshaun for a season. I just don't.
I'm going to take you back. Kris Gardner, Houston Roundball Review, joining us on this edition of Throwback Thursday. We want to wish Coach Johnny Cole happy birthday. Johnny Cole, the host of the HBCU Stroll, #1 rated show on JM&E. He overtook me in the ratings. I don't think I like that, but I'm gonna let him make it. Yeah. So remember Roy Tarpley?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
How many times did Roy Tarpley get suspended for life?
Oh my. At least twice.
Notice I said he got suspended for life. How many times?
Yeah, at least twice. Yeah.
And not apples to apples.
Oh no,
apples
right.
to apples, because we're not talking about sexual assault, sexual misconduct. But Roy Tarpley is the name that comes to mind that was suspended from the NBA for life multiple times. Josh Gordon is one that comes to mind in the NFL who was suspended for full seasons. I can even go way back to Art Schlichter. Mm-hmm. Art Schlichter was literally banned from the game because of gambling. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Those are not precedences, though. Those are not precedences to this type of situation. But there are other cases out there where people have suffered longer suspensions. What are your thoughts about that when you think about Roy Tarpley, Josh Gordon, Art Schlichter, guys like that?
But, I mean, they all got second chances, ultimately, after sitting out a season, mm-hmm. What have you. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to answer it this way. Deshaun has already sat out one season. So why would Roger Goodell, he might say, well, he's already been sat down for one season, so why should I suspend him for another season?
So because the women's groups and the allies of the women's groups and the sponsors who don't want
Goodell is, he's disrespected women's groups before.
Yeah, but
so look, I mean, like I said, until he does it, I don't have reason to believe he's going to.
That's crazy.
Listen to the court of public opinion,
because again, they will march down to the NFL offices in Manhattan and say, listen, him sitting out last year has nothing to do with him being punished this year.
But Roger Goodell, he could use that. He could spin that as part of it and stick with 10 games. Stick with being 9 games, half the season, a little bit more than half the season, what have you, and say he's already been just be a season and a half for his punishment. I'm just saying his possible wording of whatever judgment will finally meted out.
Yeah.
I just don't see him for a whole season.
Yeah. Yeah.
Should he?
Yeah.
We could argue about that. Yeah, he should or not, but I don't see Roger Goodell doing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the Cleveland Browns, this is society, okay? Not just sports, society.
Yeah.
The Cleveland Browns traded for Deshaun Watson, gave up a lot for him, gave him guaranteed money in spite of everything that he had been accused of. In spite of not playing with the Texans last season, they still traded for him because of what he can do when he's on the field of competition.
I'm from Cincinnati, so I can say this with all the pettiness and mess that I'm about to say it with. It's going to be dripping with pettiness. That just goes to show you how bad things have been in Cleveland, especially at the quarterback spot. They ain't had a quarterback in Cleveland in for never. And I mean for never. Did I stutter?
No. But and Baker Mayfield had his moments there, but he burned the bridge. He burned the bridge with everything. But
listen, let me tell you something. Baker Mayfield and Akili Smith have more in common than Baker Mayfield and a good quarterback. Period.
Well, the Browns have plenty of proof of why they've been so bad for so long.
Here's the crazy thing. not going back into the distant quarterbacks when they had, when they did go to the playoffs before most recent. Brian Hoyer is about the best thing they've had at quarterback. Yeah, Baker, I said it. Brian Hoyer, not you. Brian Hoyer has been a better quarterback than Johnny Manziel, Baker Mayfield, you name it, combined.
And that is, I'm not doubting you, but are you also telling me that there was not another quarterback, legit active quarterback in the NFL who did not have all this baggage, not all these accusations that they could not have traded for?
Yeah, somebody just asked me why I'm sitting so close to the camera, because you can see me a little bit better when I'm up here than when I'm back here in the view. But yes, that's where the perfect storm came in, because it took somebody with, I'm sorry, it's a family show, with some cojones like Jimmy Haslam and his wife and other people, Andrew Berry. It took them to say, yeah, there's some other quarterbacks out there, but we don't want them. We want Baker Mayfield. No, we want Deshaun Watson. And guess what they did? They got him.
And guaranteed money.
But I will say this, Willie Gibson has done a phenomenal job of pointing out the facts that they did not structure this contract around this settlement, this punishment.
Yes.
They
correct.
did not. If you look at the other large contracts with Nick Chubb and with Myles Garrett and with other players on that team, they're structured very much the same. So you don't get it both ways. And that's just for people who don't do their homework and they listen to whatever Adam Schefter says and whatever, all these other folks says, Emmanuel Acho, good Lord. What these cats say, that if you're not going to do your homework, then you'll, as my son says, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. So Keith Hennig said the Browns haven't had a quarterback since Tim Couch, and he was mediocre on a good day. I don't even put him in that category. He was probably one of the most highly touted quarterbacks to come out. But no, man, they ain't had a quarterback since long before him. But,
in terms of salary cap, if Deshaun is suspended for the entire season, it's like, what, $1 million, $1 or $2 million for his salary for cap purposes this season. It's not a huge amount, because they did structure kind of as protection for this possibility.
Yeah. So I'm trying to choose my words carefully. Salary cap and protection from suspension, two different things. Salary cap gives you the flexibility to get other players on the field, because you got to have players on the field.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And not just at the quarterback position, because they already had Jacoby Brissett. They already had Josh Dobbs. They already had, the other quarterbacks. Well, they brought in another quarterback since. But I don't think that the Browns were as worried as much about this part of it as they were making sure that they signed him. Because remember, it was a free-for-all for Deshaun. Atlanta wanted him. They were already ready to kick. They
were the expected team to get him, right?
Right. Matt Ryan, they got their forever franchise quarterback out there. They were, New Orleans was in the mix. There were other teams that were in the mix. So I think it was more about winning Deshaun than it was about protecting from any future punishment that he may have to deal with.
That makes sense. And you naming the other teams, other NFL teams, which goes back to society. There was competition for a man who had been accused at that time, 20 something, whatever it was, with 20 different women. Those other teams, that's all right. We need a quarterback. He's a hell of a quarterback when he's on the field. So let's go ahead and try to get it.
Again, I am not going to ever minimize, women or men, because there are men that are sexually assaulted and sexual misconduct. I'm not going to ever minimize someone who has dealt with that, but I just still want to know, where was this believe the women at all costs when it was President Trump? And I'm not trying to do whataboutisms. I'm not. I'm just trying to get, if it's believe the women all the time at all costs, me too, me too, me too, then where was the outrage? Because 70 some odd million people didn't seem to care about it when they voted for him in this, 2020.
And many of them voted for him twice. So that's a great point.
I just want to know why the selection, why the selective outrage. I just want to know that.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of society's problems. We choose accountability when it suits us.
Right.
When it's not, the people we like. Accountability is accountability. I mean, I try to keep that. I try to maintain that. Whether it's friends, players on my teams I like, anything of that sort. Accountability is accountability. Let me ask you this. I don't know if you got to go to a break soon or not.
Yeah, let me take one. We'll come back and I'll hear the question. Right. We'll be right back with Kris Gardner, Houston Roundball review right after this on the lunch break, powered by JM&E, streaming live on Roku, courtesy of BS3 TV.
Sybil Wilkes with what you need to know today.
Discouragement, sorrow, distance. Your arguments cause damage to your family. The hurt leads to divorce. You feel like there is nowhere else to turn. But there is hope for you. That's where we come into play. There is an overcomer that lives inside of you. One ready to take on the world as you leap for joy, living in victory. You'll grow to love yourself and others. There's life after divorce, and you can claim it today. Get Over Divorce, where your new story begins here every Thursday on YouTube and Spreaker. If you're looking for a sports program that gives you the flavor.
Washington Commanders? Really?
This whole thing stinks to high heaven.
That pulls no punches.
Thuggish act by a thuggish actor.
That gives you some humor.
Praise everything LeBron does and never criticize it.
If you want a show that gives you good times, then this is that show. BS3 Network proudly presents.
I am Cole Johnson and welcome to
Cole Sports with a Z. Every Friday on Patreon and every Saturday on YouTube, Spreaker, and all other outlets.
Bro, I'm sitting up here jelly.
Man, I gotta get some people to do my spots like this, man.
God. Wow. You know what? That's Snowman in the morning. That's Brian Snowden. And bruh, that was fire. Yeah. You're gonna make me play that again before we go. Listen, now all of that's part of the BS3 family. So listen, they getting it in, man. If you are not connected with BS3 TV, you need to get connected with them. If you got a Roku streaming device, download BS3 TV. They got it going on. So you were gonna ask me a question before the break. What was your question?
Yes. Considering the Brittany Griner saga, now the guilty verdict and the sentencing of 9 years to a penal colony, I wonder how many non-Russian players will sign deals and to play this season in that country.
Yeah, here's what I'm gonna say: American-born, non-Russian players, the number should be zero.
Men and women.
Men and women. Yeah, absolutely. The number should be zero. Now, mind you, not many have the notoriety, and I was told that's a negative term, but not many have the celebrity of a Brittany Griner. But still, the number should be zero. The number should be absolutely zero. you don't want to be the and one on a prisoner swap. And it's Brittany Griner and this gentleman in Russia being prisoner swapped for the merchant of death and a convicted murderer. You don't want to be the and one on any of that, because that brother has been over in Russia a lot longer than Brittany has. So, you got to wait until they get something of value to throw you in with and try and get, just stay out of there. Just stay out of China. Just stay out of China.
No. See, now we're getting to another issue.
I'm sorry. I sounded like Daryl Morey. Please forgive me. Stay out of North Korea.
Well, because I think there are some Americans who have already signed deals to play in Russia this upcoming season, and I'm just like, is the money that good? And that's the question my question for you. Is the money that good for you to go to a country knowing that, in all honesty, you are, if they feel like it, away from tossing your behind in jail? I mean, that's what it is. If they feel like it, you're American. Well, I think, what is this? This pen looks like a vape pen. So you're going to jail. That's just an ink pen. No. We think it's a vape pen. So you're going to jail.
Yep.
I'm sorry. I'll go play somewhere else. I don't care if I played in Russia for last 5 years. Nope, not going to do it.
And let's do this, Kris. Let's track that. Let's track that. Let's find out who goes and when they go, because I think the answer should be 0 from this day forward for the foreseeable future.
Agreed. And I think, I don't know, because a colleague, Mark Stein, he reported it. I have to find it, so it'll be after this one. But I want to say someone has already begun tracking players, American players and just basketball players,
right,
who have already signed overseas.
Yep.
And I think part of that list includes some teams in Russia. But once I put it up, I'll send it to you to be sure. But this person tracks that kind of stuff already. It's part of what they do for their website, what have you. But WNBA wise, the majority of them, I'm going to say all of them, have said, no, we're not playing in Russia this year.
Yeah.
No, we'll see how long. But another question. How long will that last?
And I don't have the answer. That's why I said for the foreseeable future.
Okay, because the money's great. And there's certain teams, ownership's backed by whatever you want to, shady money or whatever, pay WNBA players like Brittany, Diana Taurasi, $1 million a season.
Yeah.
Very well taken care of. There are not as many teams internationally that can pay WNBA players that much money. Turkey, it's not $1 million, maybe $500,000 or $300,000, whatever.
Right. Yeah.
But they chose to play in Russia. And Keith has the comment right there. I've never been to Russia, never want to. I'm not sure. I'm older than BG. I'm older, a little bit older than Diana Taurasi. I just couldn't do it. I just could not play in Russia. I'm sorry. Maybe that's the old American belief in me, waving that flag when I was 8 years old. I just can't do it. No. But I understand a little bit. It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
But still,
yeah.
Because I was always afraid of just something like this that happened to Brittany. That I'd be the one to get arrested on some trumped up charge, and I'll never be seen again, never come home again. Nope. It's not gonna do it.
Yeah, Kris, I hate to do it. We got to go. Got to get ready for this 1 o'clock over here at SGA TV. Good things in the works. I'm representing Xavier University today on our Throwback Thursday. I always rock a HBCU. No, they are not an HBCU football team, but they are a proud HBCU. In fact, somebody told me that if you are in a room with more than 10 Black people, more than 10 attorneys or doctors, there's a high probability half of them came from Xavier University.
Outstanding.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Tell everybody where they can find you, follow you, what you got coming up next.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, as always, for having me on the lunch break. I'm Kris Gardner, KG, owner of the Houston Roundball Review. Been around since 1994. I got a few interviews lined up that you can catch on the Houston Roundball Review YouTube channel, as well as the audio podcast platforms like iHeart, Apple, Google Play, Stitcher, etc. We have another Let's Talk Houston Rockets this Saturday evening. I might have one of my young Lions join me based on his time schedule. If he can't make it, it'll be now for the summer, 9:30 start, might be earlier. I invited Kim Watt Davis to come on this Sunday on the Folks Talking Sports. She might have to squeeze this in her busy schedule, so we'll see about that. I asked another young lady, Taylor Mason, to come on the show as well on Sunday for Folks Talking Sports. So we shall see, but that's things we got coming up. Interviews are coming up, Friday and Monday on the YouTube channel. But lastly, since 1994, the Houston Roundball Review, local name, global perspective.
Love it, brother. And love you, man. We'll talk soon, okay?
Take care.
All right. Kris Gardner, Houston Roundball Review. Appreciate him joining us, as always, on Throwback Thursday. Let me get ready to rock Sybil Wilkes, What You Need to Know, and we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Again, appreciate y'all tuning in. Sorry about the background and everything like that. I'm just glad to have a space to be able to get it. Again, shout out to everybody from Xavier University, Louisiana. Yes, indeed. A lot of people think I went there, but I just spent a lot of time on that campus. So as always, let's not be divided. Let's be united. I truly do love you. There's nothing you can do about it, except meet me here tomorrow for Freestyle Friday. Y'all take care. We'll talk to you then.
It's Sybil Wilkes with What You Need to Know. Today is Thursday, or as I like to call it, Friday Eve, August 4th, 2022. Number 1, salute. A new chapter has been written in the history of the United States with the elevation of Lieutenant General Michael Langley as the first Black 4-star general in the Marine Corps. For the first time in its 246-year history, a Black man has been promoted to 4-star general in the United States Marines via Senate confirmation. Including Langley, there were 8 Black 3-star generals. This general, 4 stars and all, will assume command of all U.S. military forces in Africa. Number 2, Black small business owners have successfully organized and protested the nuisance ordinance proposed by the Atlanta City Council. As written, the ordinance would shut down businesses with a crime-ridden history after 2 violations in the span of 2 years. But activists and business owners agree. This law would penalize Atlanta's thriving Black nightlife sector and not the criminals themselves. Mayor Andre Dickens first introduced the ordinance in April as his latest attempt at reducing Atlanta crime. Number 3, better than expected COVID-19 vaccine sales push Moderna past Wall Street's second quarter forecast. The company said that its Spikevax vaccine brought in $4.5 billion during the quarter. Analysts were looking more for around $3.6 billion. Moderna's vaccine sales in the second quarter represent a drop from the nearly $6 billion the vaccine brought in during the year's first quarter, when a virus surge through the United States pushed more people to seek protection. Number 4, the family of Roderick Brooks is demanding answers from Texas authorities after Brooks was shot and killed by a Houston area police officer in what officials claim was an act of self-defense. Brooks was killed earlier this month by Harris County Sheriff's Deputy Garrett Hardin, who chased the unarmed Black man after Brooks was accused of shoplifting laundry detergent. While the body camera footage released by the department does show Brooks grabbing for the officer's taser, Justin Moore, another Brooks family attorney, stressed that nothing caught on tape justified the officer shooting and killing Roderick Brooks. Number 5. There are numerous financial struggles amid the second most important shopping season behind the winter holidays, back to school. It marks a big difference from a year ago, when many low-income shoppers, flush with government stimulus and buoyed by wage increases, spent freely. The back-to-school shopping season, parents, particularly in the low to middle income bracket, are focusing on the basics, while also trading down to cheaper stores amid surging inflation, which hit a new 40-year high in the month of June. Here's your daily inspiration from Yogi's Jewels. When you give grace, you expect nothing in return. Join me today live on YouTube and Facebook at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central with J. Anthony Brown as we discuss today's top headlines and more. Thank you to our What You Need to Know partners, the American Heart Association and Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. To subscribe to my free daily newsletter, please visit SybylWilkes.com. Be informed, be empowered.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.